What the fuck?
Hello and welcome to Taste Like Tea, a podcast in which I talk about myself. My name is Theo. Don't call me Ted. Hello. Hi. This is a podcast that exists, and I'm on it. I record a little bit differently this week just because, this recording itself isn't unique in any way, but let me spit this out. If not on somebody's car, maybe. Nope, missed. You ever try to spit respectfully and it makes it harder to spit? It's annoying. So, today I record. Well, this whole week I recorded a little bit differently. I had my doctor on one day, so I couldn't talk then. And then yesterday I did a little bit of writing. It's been an interesting set of time, but I'm doing a drive along today. I was thinking about doing this as my Sam Neill double feature, but I think that might just get left in the dust because if I didn't do it this week, I feel like I'm probably not going to do it. But maybe we'll see. I was actually going to even use this episode to talk about video games because I have a lot to rant about with video games, but I think I'm going to save it a little longer. Maybe I'll build up a little bit more ranting before we get to that. But today I'm just going to be talking about a single film. It's a single film drive along, as we do. I don't have any stops to make, so it's probably going to be on the shorter end. Probably between 25 and 40 minutes. Maybe even less. Who knows? I might take a long way home just to add a little bit of time to it, but whatever. I'm talking about a single film today. It'll be fun, I guess. It's a podcast. I listen to my podcast occasionally still, and I think I'm still pretty entertaining. I might not be the funniest guy in the world, and I might just say a lot, but that's it's part of the thing. That's part of the vibe. anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to reach out to me. I am a person that exists with thoughts, feelings, perspectives, etc. My life experience does not match yours, thus we are different. anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to tell me about it. You could email me. You can complain about how you think we are exactly the same person. I did meet a Theo that has the same exact birthday as me. Maybe he was just lying, but maybe he was one of those kids. But I did meet a kid who claims to have the same name and the same birthday as me. And then he disappeared from the face of the earth, and I was left, pondering where the fuck this kid went. So, maybe there is another person out there that is me, that's possible. If that was true, though, you'd probably be listening to this podcast. Hello. Thoughts, feelings, perspectives. I am a person, all that stuff. So today I'm going to be talking about a single film, a Peter Jackson film, actually. How annoying. May have hit that car. I don't have the time for that. So, talking about a Peter Jackson film today. I ordered the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings Hobbit collection for really cheap. I recently learned that Peter Jackson actually prefers the theatrical cuts, and I use that as kind of motivation to say, all right, I don't need that ultimate mega Lord of the Rings box set. I'll just get the one that has the theatrical cuts because nobody wants theatrical cuts and they're dirt cheap. So I got 6 movies for $15. I'm very happy with that purchase. I'm not a die-hard Lord of the Rings fan, but I definitely like the films, and it's nice to have them. I should say I like the first film. Everything else, I've never seen the Hobbit films, and I don't remember either of the sequels at all. If it wasn't for the podcast I'm listening to, I would have no idea what the fuck happens in those, except for the scene where Frodo gets his finger bit off, and apparently that scene where the woman like takes her helmet off and goes, "I am no man," is from a sequel. I thought that was in the original one, but probably. Anyway, I bought those and I was gonna watch it the other night, and I realized, like, you know what? I mean, granted, I haven't seen a majority of the films in this box set, but why don't I start out a little bit differently and go back to some of Peter Jackson's earlier films? I've been sitting on it for a while, and I've known about it for not a long time, but maybe a couple months, and I just really wanted to check it out, because like Peter Jackson's a big name, you know. Growing up, he was the blockbuster guy. The way Spielberg dominated the 70s and 80s, like I think Peter Jackson was that for my like early 2000s experience, between the Lord of the Rings films and King Kong. Like he was the epic guy. He made epically long films, and they rivaled. I didn't know Harry Potter was a series until way later in my life, so I only knew the first film of that. But yeah, Lord of the Rings. Like, Peter Jackson's a significant name. He exists. So I decided to go back to his older films. He is from New Zealand, I believe. I don't know. That doesn't really make any difference. It's just a thing to observe. But I watched the film Bad Taste. I didn't mean to watch it as like a thing. It might actually prompt me to do the thing differently. I watched Bad Taste is Peter Jackson's first film. It's first feature film, at least credited on Letterboxd, which I need to start checking IMDb because, you know, Letterboxd misses a lot. You know, it's not just TV shows it misses, but there's just like things that like people just aren't credited on Letterboxd. Like even Matt Frewer isn't credited in Mick Garris's The Stand as Trash Can Man, yet he's one of like the most popular characters in the series. Yeah, I watched Bad Taste. It is apparently Peter Jackson's first film. I wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't for, I mean, obviously Peter Jackson's a name, so I'm like, that's like, that catches my eye to begin with, but it's the fact that it's Peter Jackson directed a film where the poster is an alien with an AK-47 giving the middle finger. So I'm like, that's a really weird ass design. Like that's such a, like, that's Peter Jackson, like the Peter Jackson. So I click on it, and the description basically is like, yeah, there's an intergalactic fast food restaurant that's harvesting humans to eat. And my brain immediately jumped to that Futurama episode where they're eating the poplars. And that's basically how I assumed the film was going to go. I thought, one, it was going to be more a perspective of the aliens eating the humans, which is not whatsoever. But I was also expecting it to just be very much like that, where it's a lot of just like more about commenting on capitalism than it is about the morality of eating living beings, which I suppose it's still technically like up in the air as like an idea. Jesus Christ. So yeah, this film is really weird because, for me at least, without that description, like without the blurb saying that there's an intergalactic fast food restaurant harvesting humans to serve as food, I wouldn't have any clue that that was going on, at least not for the first 45 minutes of this barely 90-minute film. Because the film opens with just like Peter Jackson and crew just like wandering around. Like they're just outside. I don't want to say the desert because there's like grass and stuff, but it's like a mountainous area of New Zealand. It very well could be the exact same area that the Hobbit houses have been built in. It's a very hilly, green area, and it's very nice. But the first half of the film is just Peter Jackson and a couple other people just like running around. Peter Jackson's alone as like a paranoid dude convinced that there's aliens. And then everybody else just doesn't believe him, but they're slowly getting exposed to alien stuff to the point where they're like, oh shit, he was right. Which all of that takes like 45 minutes to an hour to kick off. Truly, it's just a really confusing opening that without context it would have been borderline like uninteresting. It ended up being interesting thanks to some other aspects of it, but when it comes down to like plot and what you're seeing in the beginning is very underwhelming and just kind of like confusing compared to the description that was given. So they're running around. Peter Jackson has this dude tied up, and quite literally, it's Peter Jackson on screen. Like he is acting in this film, which is cool. I think that's pretty cool. Trucks have no rights on the road and don't deserve to be in passing lanes. That's a hard opinion of mine that I refuse to waver on. Don't you dare try and make this fucking... Yeah, fuck you. Trying to get in the left lane. So Peter Jackson has an alien tied up. Well, it's a person he's trying to get to admit that he's an alien. But maybe it's just because I have the description in my mind, but obviously these people are aliens. They're all dressed exactly the same. They don't speak, and they're kind of moving. I think they're clones. Like, not actually, but I think they occupy bodies that are also the main characters. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's kind of how it came off. But he's like torturing this dude, hanging him off a cliff. Like, come on, just admit you're an alien. Admit you're an alien. He's just not talking. Meanwhile, other alien dudes, which are just like white men in a smock, running around committing violence, and by committing violence, I mean like they're attacking these people. The main characters are being attacked by these people, these aliens, and Peter Jackson at one point literally like pulls out an Uzi and just starts unloading his Uzi at alien people. There's some really great so halfway through the film they reveal like, oh yeah, the aliens, by the way, they're harvesting humanity and all this and that, and God, what an idiot. BMW drivers trying to pass on the right. Fuck off, you cunt. So halfway through the film, the not Peter Jackson guy gets like brought in and kind of like exposed to the human harvesting and like all the aliens being eaten or eating people and stuff, and it's weird because I've never seen a Herschel Gordon Lewis film, but this entire scene of them like in this really dark house looking up at this old man alien leader guy just kind of like talking about the food and stuff and like the nectar and all that. I think they call the vomit juice like a nectar or something. And it feels like what I assume Herschel Gordon Lewis films are like, in the sense that it's just really frantic and like looks a little choppy and feels really threatening, but just because there's an old man yelling, kind of like a, not gospel, but kind of culty. It has a very strong culty feel, and then with all the special effects being extra greasy and grimy and disgusting, it makes me feel like I'm watching a film I've never seen before, which would, I immediately jumped like, is this, like, I almost even asked, like, is that old man Herschel Gordon Lewis? Because it felt like it for some reason, even though, again, I've never seen any of his films, I don't actually know, just kind of got the vibes from him. And then the rest of the film is kind of, it's kind of just the same thing as the beginning of the film, just now we know things a little bit more, so things like action is a little bit more prominent and the mystery is not relevant. So At some point, the aliens are revealed, and the guys on the cover begin to be the things running around. It's a comedy, by the way. This is like a horror sci-fi comedy. Peter Jackson, we'll get to it. But yeah, the last bit is basically just like the opening bit. They're running around, but now there's alien faces instead of human faces, and they're they're fighting it out. It kind of culminates into a climax that involves basically Peter Jackson becoming the man who sets out on a mission to murder and destroy all of these aliens. That's kind of how it ends up being. So, that's basically the film. I want to describe the end, hopefully, but let me, I guess, just like loop back around to the beginning again and talk about just some things that, exist. So, first off, special effects are outstanding. I had to Google it. This film was made for like $35,000, and I don't know if that's current time money or back then money. But either way, that's less than like most films ever have been made for. So it's just really amazing to see that these special effects were so effective and well executed, and not sparsely used. Like, they're very prominent in the film. Like, almost everything that isn't people talking is an effect in some way, shape, or form. Most notably is the brain matter, because this film does a lot with brain matter. So a lot of the time when brains are exposed, I'm pretty sure they're using actual goat brain or something like that, because it looks genuinely real. It looks really gross, and the way that they implement it's really solid. So I think the first use of it is they chop the top half of this dude's head off. It's like one of the evil aliens. They chop the top half of this dude's head off, and brains just fall, and they have a dummy that they filled up with the brains that when it tips over, brains fall out, and when they step on them, the brains get really gooey and smushy. So the way cartoons animate gum being stepped on by a cartoon character is basically how the brains are. So he'll lift his foot up and little strands of brain are stuck to his boot, and it's really gross. Peter Jackson, for some reason, I don't understand the logic in this film, but Peter Jackson at some point gets his skull cracked open. Literally, he gets thrown back, and he cracks his head open on a rock, and pieces of his brain fall out. But weirdly enough, he's alive. He's fine. He gets back up. He dusts off the piece of brain that he just found fell out of his head, and plops it back in there and shoves the skull closed and puts a hat over it to hold it tight. He eventually switches to a belt because the hat isn't doing it. And it's just really fucked up to consider. It looks great. They use that brain effect a lot. Not a repeating shot of it, but just kind of most of the gore is brains. There's another scene where one of those alien guys, right before they're physically exposed, it's the first half of the film, he's getting shot at. Peter Jackson's unloading on him with this Uzi, and then he shoots through him. He ends up if you ever been to a fair and had the BB gun, they're cut a hole out using a BB gun. He's kind of he cut a hole out, and another alien shows up and starts attacking him, and what happens is the body falls on top of him, that he just shot, and he shoves the gun into the body, poking the barrel out of the body's back, and starts unloading on the second alien. And it's really good. It's a really good effect. I really like how at the end of the scene he yanks it out, and has to pour blood out of the barrel because it was just like in there. It's really cool. The decapitated mannequin looked really great too. Like the dead bodies that weren't just people looked fantastic. You can tell that they were fake, but they were executed really well, and they just worked awesomely. Same thing for the aliens too. The aliens look really good. They're also part animatronic, like their heads move and stuff. So it's not just like a mask on a dude's head. And the way they're attached to the head looks really solid, because the transition between, like, if you ever hear people talk about like eyes in a latex mask always look bad because they never cover enough of the eyelid, and you need kind of like a seamless transition between mask and eyelid. This film kind of does that in a really interesting way. Like, the eyes still look human, but there's no break. It's all still just kind of like mask, and then eyeball. It's a very genuine look. Looping back up to the front again, this film is made so well. Like, this film is arguably like really dumb and not really that like, it has a very niche audience of people who like gross things, people who like Peter Jackson, and I don't know, that's kind of it. Like, it's just a really gross sci-fi movie that has very little plot that actually develops. Like, it's literally just the description of the film happens throughout the film. That's basically all it is. And the film is kind of just exploring the effects of those events happening. So, like, this film is just a weird thing to exist. So, like, it's made amazingly, though. So, like, it looks really shitty. It's funny in a really absurd way. Like, it has a very niche audience, and yet it's made as if it's done by this, like, masterclass dude. Like, I'm convinced that Peter Jackson knew how to make a film before he ever made a film before. Like, he just inherently knew what he had to do. Because, like, between the cinematography, the editing, the acting is fine, but the way it's shot is just, and, like, presented is so perfect that every shortcoming, every low-budget issue that arises, including crew members explicitly showing up in shots, it's made so well that none of that matters. Like, it's so obnoxiously good. The only reason my rating on Letterboxd isn't higher is because the first half is kind of a dud. I shouldn't even say the first half. The first third is about a dud, because it's just a lot of, like, just pondering what the fuck is going on and not getting any answers in a very unsatisfying way. But this film really, between the editing and the cinematography, it's just so perfect. It's so enticing to look at. So even though the opening is really boring and unappealing to me, it's still visually just stunning. The landscape shots aren't that crazy. They're kind of I don't want to say basic, but they're just, they're the New Zealand hills shot from ground level. There might be a few crane and helicopter shots, but I can't say. And there's the camera movements are great. There's a lot of really cool, like, it kind of reminds me of like a Robert Rodriguez, if I don't want to say if he was, like, better, because that's not true. It's not even what I mean. But between, like, it has, like, cool movements where the camera, like, runs down the length of a person's arm and like, stops at the barrel of the gun in, like, a really cool, like, wide-angle way. Like, it's very, like, action sequences. Like, it's shot kind of like an early 2000s action movie in a good way. It's a little frantic at times, but it all holds together really well. Because, I mean, the whole way it's made is exactly why it's so worth watching. yeah, I don't really know how to even explain it past that. Like, the editing is just so good that I can't help but just appreciate it for what it is. Yeah, Masterclass, like, truly, I don't know how you can have this be your first film. I really don't get it. You see it in, like, the quality of the film, because I'm pretty, like, it almost looks like he shot this on, like, 16 millimeter. It has kind of like an extra graininess to it that a better print wouldn't fix. It looks the way it does, and that's, you know, a good reason is probably because it's you know, it's expensive to buy 35 millimeter color film, I'm assuming. So, yeah, it's really just a great example of you don't need a lot of money to make a film look good. I bet realistically, if that budget is true, I bet most of it went to post-production anyway. Because other than the gore and some fake guns, which actually might be real guns, just that look fake. And they don't look fake, they just don't have bullets in them. But, yeah, so I guess let me just talk about the ending real quick. Because other than that, that's kind of, like, that's the plot. Those are, like, the special effects are amazing. It's edited outstandingly. Let me just talk about the ending. So, to be honest, it was kind of frantic. I don't really know how we got there. But there's this house that's, like, reoccurring in the film. It's the house that actually the aliens have their weird cult party at. So you have this repeated area that shows up a little later on, that's it's kind of like the aliens' lair. It's just kind of like their home base, right? So that's where they convene, that's where they pulled all the humans. Oh, hold on, let me pull back 1 second. There is a scene, it's probably the grossest scene in the film. I hopefully won't stick to it too long, but I just need to describe it. It's during that middle scene, that midpoint scene where you're kind of getting all the exposition. One of the main characters gets held up and is basically, like, you see how they harvest the humans, and they induce, like, a really extended period of vomiting, and it makes them vomit up like a chunky melted ice cream. It kind of looks like mint chip ice cream if you, like, threw in Fruity Pebble bars and, like, mixed it around. Like, it just has that kind of, like, color and texture look to it. But the whole scene that is grossed me out is, like, that he vomits in the bowl, which is a good, like, 30 seconds of just uninterrupted vomiting, which is horrible to witness. And then the rest of the scene is them passing around the bowl of vomit, drinking out of it, stuffing their faces in it, scooping it up with their hands. It's really fucked up. But yeah, so the ending, they're back at this house, and Peter Jackson is, you know, committing violence on them. He's killing them. He busts out a chainsaw at some point, which they kind of hint at early in the film. It's one of those, like, masterclass in filmmaking, but in, like, a very basic way. Whereas, like, we don't need that, and then later on he needs it and busts it open, and there's the big reveal that he has a chainsaw. I'm pretty sure it was a chainsaw. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It does matter, because it is a chainsaw. So he runs into the house, and he starts killing as many aliens as possible. And the end happens, right? This is, like, the last 2 to 4 minutes of the film. Peter Jackson does, like, a dive. He does, like, a leap of faith with the chainsaw revving in one hand, and he power punches down onto the head of an alien and starts chainsawing it vertically down the center of its body, like, through the head, down through it. Like, he tunnels his way through this alien, this standing alien body, tunnels his way through it, and falls out the bottom. Like, literally, he goes through this body. Literally, like, the the robot in Incredibles, the way that Mr. Incredible destroys the first one, but vertically instead of or down instead of up. So like he's going to head down with a chainsaw, like diving forward into this alien, and just starts grinding at it, and he's freaky screaming, and it's really crazy. And then he falls out the bottom. All of the guts and like everything that fills that alien up, like the existence of that alien gets just poured out onto the floor, and Peter Jackson kind of falls out with him. And then the film closes on. Well, no, it doesn't fully close then yet. So, Jesus Christ. So Peter Jackson, he tunnels his way through this alien. Then he says the line, oh my God, I can't believe I don't remember what he said exactly. He's like, so you could call me born again. And he looks right at the camera covered in blood and guts because he just got birthed out of the bottom of this alien. That's basically what it looked like. So he's like, you can call me born again. And that kind of shows the kind of humor that this film has, which is just another, masterclass example of Peter Jackson being like, yeah, even in this most grotesque, fucked up movie, you still need a couple laughs. So then he wears the skin of the alien, and along the house that he's in, the aliens initiate a launch. Turns out it's a spaceship, and he's in the house as it's being launched into space. So after he finishes confrontation, I think it's actually the other way around. I'm pretty sure he finishes his confrontation. There's been a fly in my car for way too long. Like, how do you do that? He does his birthing thing. He puts on the skin suit, and I think he actually launches himself into space. If not, if I'm wrong with that, the ship launches into space, and then he realizes he's in space and goes, "Oh well, I guess I'm the savior of humanity." So he makes it his life mission to go back to where the aliens came from and murder them all. And that's how the film ends: is him in a house spaceship, wearing the skin of an alien. With the goal of, I'm going back to their homeworld to chainsaw them all to death. And that's the film. Never once did it seem like that episode of Futurama with the poplars. Like, that's the most irrelevant thing. Like, I could have made there's no connection to it at all. Like, the fact that I made that assumption is just bad in itself. Come on, fly, you're right there. Thank you. Don't come back inside. You're not allowed back inside. You have to live outside where you belong. So, yeah, that's the film. That's Bad Taste. Peter Jackson's first feature film. And wow, was I impressed. It was not what I expected. It's not what I wanted. But I sure was blown away. It wasn't like a 5-star film. Like I said, the first half was really boring to me. Although it was it showed a lot of intrigue. It wasn't that fun. Had some great spots, but it really, overall, it just didn't hold up for me. It wasn't until things picked up and the plot of the film actually started to happen. So, anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to reach out to me. It looks like I broke the 30-minute mark, which is nice. You can reach out to me. You can tell me what I said wrong about the film. You can tell me about... apparently there's another Peter Jackson trilogy that Bad Taste is built off of, but I don't believe it, because the only other films after that is Brain Dead and that Muppets ripoff, Meet the Feebles. So I'm still gonna watch those because those look fucking weird too, but I don't know if they're actually things or not. I don't know if they're actual sequels, or if it's kind of like John Carpenter where he's like, yeah, this is the Insanity trilogy, even though there's no fucking connection between any of the films. It might be something like that, who knows. But anythingbutted@gmail.com. You can reach out to me. You can tell me about it. You can talk to me about it. You can ask me about it. I am a person, feelings, thoughts, etc., perspective, experiences, all that stuff. So, you've been listening to Taste Like Tea, a podcast about me. Me am I am he, and tea. Goodbye.